3 times more nutrition than apples. Why did America's largest fruit disappear? 10,000 years ago, giant ground sloths and mastodons roamed North America. Scientists believe they helped spread the seeds of a strange fruit unlike anything else on the continent. Then those giants vanished, yet somehow the fruit survived. It tastes like banana, mango, and pineapple combined. It grows wild and free across 26 states right now. George Washington served it as dessert at Mount Vernon. Lewis and Clark survived on it when they ran out of food. And yet you have never seen it in a single grocery store in your entire life. Not because it is rare, not because it is dangerous, because it refused to cooperate with the system that controls what you eat. This is the story of the pawpaw. Welcome to USA Grows. The pawpaw, Asimina triloba, is the largest edible fruit native to North America. It grows wild across 26 states, from Florida to Ontario, from Nebraska to New York. Despite its northern home, it tastes tropical. The flavor is a rich blend of banana, mango, pineapple, and vanilla, with a custard-like texture that melts on your tongue. It belongs to a tropical plant family, the Ananaceae, which includes cherimoya and soursop. Yet pawpaw survives snow, ice, and freezing winters that would kill any supermarket tropical fruit. That is not just unusual, it is evolutionary audacity. Here is where the story gets strange. Pawpaw produces large, heavy seeds, too large for birds, too large for squirrels. In nature, large seeds rely on large animals to swallow them and carry them away. The pawpaw evolved alongside North America's megafauna, mastodons, giant ground sloths, and ancient tapirs. These massive creatures ate the fruit, traveled miles, and deposited the seeds in fresh dung. The system worked for millions of years. Then, at the end of the last ice age, the megafauna vanished. Climate shifted, hunting pressures mounted. By 10,000 years ago, the giant seed dispersers were gone. Many large fruited plants declined or went extinct. The pawpaw should have followed the same path, yet it did not. The fruit survived, and for decades, scientists could not explain why. The answer lies with people. Indigenous communities across the eastern woodlands did not just tolerate pawpaw, they cultivated it. They transported seeds across hundreds of miles, planted groves near their settlements, and incorporated the fruit into their food systems. The Shawnee had an entire month in their calendar dedicated to pawpaw harvest. The Powhatan word for the fruit, asimon, eventually became its scientific name. Archaeological evidence from Russell Cave in Alabama shows pawpaw seeds dating back 8,000 years. Modern groves may still reflect ancient indigenous land management. The fruit did not survive because of luck. It survived because people remembered to plant it. In 1806, that knowledge saved an American expedition. Lewis and Clark had run out of provisions in what is now Missouri. William Clark wrote in his journal that they were entirely out of provisions and subsisting on pawpaws. 3 days later, he wrote that they could live very well on the pawpaws. The fruit that the explorers had never seen before became their emergency food source. It kept them alive when nothing else could, not because it was a curiosity, because it was food that grew in abundance without anyone asking permission. Early Americans admired the fruit. George Washington served pawpaws chilled as dessert at Mount Vernon. Thomas Jefferson planted pawpaw trees at Monticello, listing Asimina triloba among the fruits he cultivated personally. For a brief moment, the pawpaw was viewed as a potential major American crop. It produced reliable harvests. It required no spraying. It grew in soil where European fruit trees struggled. Yet it never reached the grocery store, and the reason reveals everything about how America's food system was built. The pawpaw tree is unlike any other fruit tree in the forest. It spreads through root suckers, forming clone colonies where hundreds of trees share a single underground root system. One genetic individual can cover an acre. The flowers are pollinated not by bees, but by flies and beetles attracted to a faint yeasty smell. The tree evolved for a different world, a world of scavengers and carrion insects. And it works. The fruit sets without human intervention. The trees defend themselves without chemical sprays. The entire system is self-contained. That self-defense is remarkable. Pawpaw leaves, bark, and twigs contain acetogenins, natural compounds that deter insects. Most pests avoid the tree entirely. But one insect, the zebra swallowtail butterfly, has evolved to feed exclusively on pawpaw leaves. The caterpillar consumes the acetogenins and becomes poisonous to its own predators. The butterfly cannot exist without the tree, and the tree tolerates the butterfly. It's an ancient, balanced relationship that industrial agriculture has never been able to replicate with chemicals. Scientists are now studying pawpaw acetogenins for their anti-cancer properties. The fruit that feeds people may also hold medicine, but you would never know that from walking through a grocery store. Here is what the grocery industry will never tell you. Pawpaw acetogenins have been identified in peer-reviewed studies as some of the most potent natural anti-cancer compounds ever discovered, more powerful than adriamycin, a leading chemotherapy drug, in laboratory tests against multiple cancer lines. A fruit with potential cancer-fighting properties grows free in 26 states. Nobody can patent a tree, and that's exactly why you never heard of it. Here is the central mystery and the reason pawpaw disappeared from American tables. The fruit bruises easily. A ripe pawpaw can be damaged by a gentle squeeze. It continues ripening after harvest, and once ripe, it spoils within 2 to 3 days. It cannot survive modern shipping systems. It cannot sit in a refrigerated truck for a week. It cannot stacked on a supermarket shelf. The banana, by contrast, is picked green, shipped thousands of miles, and gassed with ethylene to ripen on command. The pawpaw refuses to cooperate with industrial logistics, not because it is inferior, because it was never designed for a system that prioritizes shelf life over flavor, durability over nutrition, and profit over people. The banana paradox is the perfect illustration. America imports billions of pounds of bananas every year from Ecuador, Costa Rica, and Colombia. Those bananas travel thousands of miles, burn fossil fuels, and arrive with a fraction of the nutrition of a pawpaw. A pawpaw contains 3 times more vitamin C than an apple, 10 times more calcium, and 20 to 70 times more iron. It has a complete protein profile with all 9 essential amino acids. Yet the banana has shelf space. The pawpaw does not. The system selected for durability, not nutrition, and the pawpaw, which had fed indigenous nations for 8 millennia, was dropped from commerce. Today, the pawpaw is making a quiet comeback. Food forests, regenerative agriculture, and the homesteading movement have rediscovered the fruit that never stopped growing. Kentucky State University runs a pawpaw research program with over 27 named cultivars. The Ohio Pawpaw Festival attracts tens of thousands of people. Small-scale farmers are planting pawpaw orchards and selling at farmers markets where the fruit can go from tree to table in hours, not weeks. Gardeners are learning that you can plant a pawpaw tree today, wait 6 to 8 years, and then harvest fruit for the next 50 years without spraying, without fertilizing, without any of the inputs that industrial fruit production demands. The pawpaw survived the Ice Age. It survived colonization. It survived industrial agriculture. It survived the banana. The only thing it could not survive was the grocery store supply chain. But the tree never stopped growing. It's ripening right now in September forests across 26 states. They didn't erase the pawpaw because it failed. They erased it because it succeeded without them. Subscribe to USA Grows. Every week we bring back one more thing they tried to erase. If this story opened something for you, subscribe to USA Grows and hit the bell. Every like and every share helps preserve this wisdom. The next story opens soon.